Welcome back everybody to another episode of Bassing with Sasha. In today's episode we talk about what I'm going to be throwing in the winter in 2020, so stay tuned. Okay, so I've got this tackle box here. It's not very full, as you guys can see, but let's dive into it and see what I've got in here. Okay, so let's start with my terminal tackle. I'm gonna go over it from the top. I've got these little tackle boxes, so I'm gonna start off with my hooks. On this side you'll have your offset worm hooks, then in the middle you'll have a 3.0 EWG hook, and then I think this is a 2.0 EWG hook. This is a belly weighted hook. I'm not too sure what the size is at the moment, but they quite a heavy belly weighted hook. This is an underspin. This is an owner brand. I'm not too sure what the weight is either. And then I've got some shaky heads here as well. I've got my Ned rigs. As you guys know, I love to fish finesse rigs, so my Ned rigs, then I got my weighted wacky rig hooks, then I got my Z-Man bullets hooks, and then I got my drop shot hooks. Okay, this is more of a miscellaneous box. I've got the TOD mag shroom heads, then I've got very small, I think these are 1.0 EWG hooks, then I've got my Nico rig weights, then I've got a little bit of bigger drop shot weights for that deeper water. I've got a couple of different types of tungsten weights in here. I'm not too sure what the weights are, but I know that they vary from 3/8 ounce, 1/16 ounce to half ounce. Then I've got my drop shot weights right at the bottom here. These are a little bit lighter weights, so if the water isn't as deep. I've got little cylinder weights. These are for my mojo rigging. Then I've got quick snaps. Okay, now that I've spoken about my terminal tackle, let's go over my jigs, my crankbaits, and my moving baits. So I'm going to start off with my jig box. I'm going to be throwing a lot of finesse jigs, like these little micro jigs from Z-Man. Then obviously I got just normal jigs. They're a little bit smaller, but they are also still finesse. And then I've also just got my bladed jigs, as in my chatterbaits. I've actually taken the skirts off, so I can just put a swim bait on them. It gives it a more subtle presentation, which gives it a finesse presentation. Okay, next box. This is where I keep all my lipless crankbaits. So I've got 3 red-eye shads, and then I've got the 3 Guggen Squad clutches now. They vary from different colors. One of them is obviously on my rod, like a bluegill color, to just a sexy shad, to like little different ones, and then red, and then something very natural looking. Next box, I'm also going to be throwing jerk baits, and then I'm also going to be throwing some square-billed crankbaits and poppers. Okay, so now that we've spoken about my hard baits and my jigs, let's talk about the swim baits that I'm going to be pairing up with those underspins and those swim bait hooks. This is a Shockwave missile baits. So this is just a paddle tail. I think this is a 4-inch. You know, I'm going to be throwing these a lot. I actually wanted to throw a chatterbait or even a spinnerbait, but this is more of a subtle presentation. Then I'm going to be throwing these Z-Man, what are these? These are the Z-Man swimmers in a white color. It's a great winter color. Then obviously I've got myself these Guggen baits. What are these? The Guggen bait saucy swimmers. This is a 3.3 inch, and this is in a magic shad. Okay, so let's start talking about my soft plastics. As you guys can see, it's quite a variety, and it's quite a lot of plastics in there. So just hang in there with me. I'm gonna try and break up the baits into categories. Instead of talking about the colors and everything, I'm just gonna say what style of bait they are. So let's start talking about my finesse worms. This is actually a mag shaky head worm. This is actually specifically made for shaky heads. It's actually got a flat head, as you guys can see, and it's got a very thin tail, as you guys can see there. So on your shaky head worms, so your trick worms, you don't actually have to bite off that head to get a flat surface. Okay, next baits, I'm going to be throwing craws, you know, from these Ultra Vibe Speed craws. This is in a California color, a green pumpkin color, and then I'm also going to be throwing that Guggen Baits Kraken craw. This is also in a watermelon red color. Okay, so next baits that I'm going to be throwing as well in the winter time are stick baits, so varying from the Gary Yamamoto Senko to a Guggen Lankalo. Okay, so now I'm going to start talking about my drop shot baits. I'm going to be throwing the Guggen Squad Dragon Drop, and also I'm going to be throwing these Trek shots. Another baits that I'm going to be throwing are these Bandito bugs. This is a beaver style bait. Okay, another style of bait that I'm going to be throwing a lot of, which I throw in wintertime and in summertime, are the TRD style baits, ranging from the TRD craws to the TRD ticklers, and obviously the original, the finesse TRD, which is that small worm style bait. Okay, so I hope that you guys enjoyed what's in my tackle box 2020. Leave a comment down below what you guys throw in winter, and maybe I should give it a try. Hit that thumbs up for me, and obviously also just hit that subscribe button if you guys haven't, and I'll see you guys on the next episode of Bassing with Sasha.